And I told all my guys, this is scary. Be scared, I understand. But I'm going to sell it all right now because I'm going to have more money to go to market than anybody. And when this thing turns back on, all you fellas are fixing to make more money than you've ever seen in your lives. And that's exactly what happened. When you sell 50,000 cars a year, heading for 100, by the way, that's my goal. We run into an amazing amount of problems because there's just arbitration issues, there's title issues, there's transportation issues. The transport hit the bridge and knocked the top off of 2 trucks. The transport rolled over and damaged all these cars. So thinking about our transport division having to keep up with all the insurance activity with all these carriers. Are they valid? Did they submit fake insurance? Do we have another system that guarantees the insurance? There's a lot of expense. Our FedEx bill was $1.3 million last year. The accounting on $2 billion a year is unbelievable, the depth that it takes to catch. I mean, how many times have we paid for the same car twice? How many times did we forget to collect? The answer is none. But do we find them and have to go back? And the guy that thought he got away with it, that he forgot to pay us. You owe us $47,000. No, I don't. Well, we're going through and looking for this. So the problems, you have to departmentalize everything. Everybody says you have to hire good people. We try to hire great people. I've been accused of hiring autistic people. I don't know what that means, and I've been accused of being autistic myself, and I probably am. I'm afraid to get tested. But our people are, they're just on it. I mean, it's a passion. It's a life. And to run through the accounting on all that and the recon, all that. Imagine buying 1,000 cars in a week and paying for them. The negotiation's a pain in itself. Then paying for them. A third of them have payoffs with lenders and getting that payoff correct. Transporting them all into one central zone, the logistics of that, then reconning them, getting them CR'd at the auction, getting them photoed properly, getting the photos changed on the things that you had to fix. Why fix a door and sell it with a photo of a broken door? Then selling the 1,000 cars in 3.5 hours, and then post-sale problems, renegotiating some of the problems with the buyers, arbitration. And in our world, they have about 10 days to arbitrate them. So you get off the block with the cars you just sold, and you're still dealing with arbitrations from the week before, and then rehashing those deals. Is it worth paying the freight on those deals, or do you just need to give them the money for the freight to bite down the arbitration? Is this guy a repeat offender, and does he play that game and put cars into arbitration just to try to get the freight out of you? It is an unbelievable amount of brain damage that is manageable, but it's very difficult to keep up with and get your brain around. I couldn't imagine doing this if I hadn't been doing this for all these years and knew every single step of the game. If I hadn't done everything myself, loaded my own trucks, tied them down, moved them myself back when I was in my 20s, it wouldn't make sense. You couldn't think in front of everybody. Bob Hollinshead told me it's easier to sell 700 cars a week than it is to sell 100 cars a week. And it's easier to operate a large $50 million Ford store than it is a $3 million Ford store because you can departmentalize. You can run it like a monster dealership. And that is true. But to get to that level and take the risk to get to that level, to see the other side of that and know that the grass is greener and the auction's there, it's scary and it's hard and it's very expensive. And I'm so lucky I had Hollinshead to show me the example of here's what it looks like when it's finished. Had I not had that, I don't know if I'd have had the guts to keep going. Because there was no other examples that I could see that I could look up to know that you can do a triple backflip on a motorcycle if you just give it enough gas. Hail is our largest threat because we have, sometimes $75 million worth of assets compiled into one location. In the springtime, that's scary. So nobody will insure us. So we have to self-insure ourselves. I mean, our deductible is $500,000 for one event. We have disaster insurance. So if we wreck a car, we pay for it. If we have a $490,000 Ferrari burned to the ground, it's on me. There's no insurance. But we have to be super careful with our carriers. We don't drive our stuff around. You don't see me. I have a Toyota Land Cruiser that is registered to John C. Wolfe, and it is insured on my homeowners, and that's what I drive. I have Lamborghinis and all the Ferraris and all the pretty cars in the world, and I never drive them because they're not insured. I mean, I could insure them, but it costs $10 million a year. So we just do it this way. And but what keeps me up at night now? Nothing. I'm in too deep to worry about it. We got over the hump. Brute force did get us to this point, but a lot of tech did too. I mean, when I was 20 years old, I patented a device that I took to Micron Technology up in Boise, Idaho. And when I left SMU, I went up there and worked on an internet terminal. And if you remember back in those days, like 95, you had to be at your computer to use your email. Your email would not float. And so I had a vision for that. I'm pretty tech savvy. When I was fourth grade, I had a bulletin board system, which is the old school internet modem call deal to deal. I've always been techie. We used a lot of technology in building GiveMeTheVIN and a lot of brute force. I was young enough when I started to learn from the old dogs and also to acknowledge the technology that was to be had. I used to run around with a laptop and download MMR once a week. They would dump once a week. And I would take my laptop to the auction and use the auction list and go through MMR, and people would just make fun of me. What are you doing? Black book, yellow book, whatever book was being used. And I was using MMR in 1996, and everybody thought I was an idiot. MMR is now like the baseline. You asked me, have I ever gotten off that block and lost money? Absolutely. Doesn't happen very often because there is safety in the numbers. So where we lose in this department, we pick up on that. But that day when the world stopped and the auctions closed in COVID, and I still had, $30 million worth of cars, we weren't buying because there was nowhere to go buy. I needed to sell them because I didn't know we're self-floored. It's cash. I've got to move this stuff. I went ahead and shot it all. And I lost about $500,000 that day. I literally called my friend that lived in a different county that owned a Chevy store. He has a hay barn at his dealership. It's James Wood Motors in Decatur, Texas. We set up the simulcast system from Mannheim in a hay barn in Decatur, Texas, so that we could have an auction. We were the only people in the country having an auction in a hayfield in Decatur, Texas, because I wanted to get out of my cars now and sell them. I needed to get my gunpowder dry because I knew when it came back it was going to go bonkers. And I told all my guys, this is scary. Be scared, I understand. But I'm going to sell it all right now because I'm going to have more money to go to market than anybody. And when this thing turns back on, all you fellas are fixing to make more money than you've ever seen in your lives. And that's exactly what happened. My job, whenever I have a break, is to go find talent. I'm always looking for talent. I fly all over the country meeting talent. Meeting this guy that has his own wholesale company that's paying next gear and insurance and all the things. And they're like, oh my God, we watch you at the auction. We don't understand how you do it. Why don't you come with us? I've always worked for myself. I can show you 10 different examples of people that we've talked into hanging up their own business and coming with us and making more money and having a better life. Because we've scaled it. It's economy of scale. And those are the guys I love because they know what I know. They know all the nitty gritty. They know all the things. You don't have to manage people like that. They were used to managing people. So it's not a franchise system, but it's a hell of a fraternity. When you're straight selling $50 million worth of product and from shit to shinola, so $500,000 to $500, you really see the scope and you see the trends. I'm on the front of the ship watching the waves cut. And we see it before. CNBC and the Wall Street Journal and all the articles that come back are 6 weeks behind what we know. When hyperinflation hit during the COVID moment in that summer, I saw it. I announced it on my Facebook. I said, we have just entered hyperinflation. I didn't hear that word for 6 weeks, maybe 2 months in the news. But the cars blew up in front of me. It was the damnedest thing I've ever seen. We want 8,000 for it, it brought 12. We want 12,000 for it brought 16. You want 40,000 for it brought 44. It was the largest capital event I've ever had in my life. And we would buy the car for 40, sell it for 44, go back the next week, 2 weeks later, pay 45. Sell it for 47. Go back 3 weeks later, pay 47, sell it for 50. It was like, this has got to stop. What is the decompression of this going to look like? We're so overinflated in price. I understand the reasons, but how bad is this going to hurt on the way down? So back again, save your money, save your money. You're making too much money. Save it, because the downfall of this is going to be disastrous, and it's going to put everybody out of business because they're going to spend. And that's been in our benefit quite a bit. So my phone is ringing with, good dealers, good wholesalers. They want to join us, and we're in the catbird seat to put the dream team together. We already have the dream team, but we'll enhance the dream team during this downtrend that we're seeing this summer, because the guys don't have the reputation we have. They cannot liquefy the amount of cars we get. They're running cars to the auction in LA's. No sale, no sale, no sale. I watched an auction in Riverside 2 weeks ago. No sale for an hour and a half. And this is not the bad lane. This is the lane that sells cars. And I did not see a straight sell at that auction for an hour and a half. It was all put on if. It was all put on conditional. It was all no sale. When that happens, the sewer backs up. What happens when the sewer backs up? It comes out of the commodes and gets all over the floors, and you have to leave the house. And that's been happening in the wholesale business lately. The market trusts our brand and our system enough. I'm so flattered and proud that the dealer body around the U.S. has learned to trust me and our brand enough to transact with us with that much confidence around the country.
If you're ready for your next adventure, you're gonna need the right car, and the best way to buy your next car is with the help of Premier Financial Services. The Simple Lease from Premier Financial is the most powerful tool in the world of exotic car financing. You get all the benefits of a traditional loan, like the ability to accumulate equity, pay it off at any time, and they give you a perfectly easy to understand amortization table, but you also get the benefits of a lease, the low payment, the flexible terms, the low down payments, but also you get to use some certain tax benefits that leases entitle you to. They've taken great care of me, and I know they'll take great care of you, so check them out now at the link in the description below.